Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the fourth episode of the Not What I'm Referring To podcast. We're back here in the Big Boy studio. Last intro, Nick? I was real nervous. We're feeling a lot more comfortable here today, folks. We have a real treat. Someone I've been talking to over the past year, actually, fellow content creator, outspoken, independent artist, Emaza Dilan. She is here today to talk music, politics, and some other things that we're going to get into as the show unrolls. How are you doing today?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to get on this podcast. I'm happy for you. You know, you're expanding your brand and whatnot. I've been watching you for a while, and you're always keeping everyone updated with the new news. So I'm glad to be on here.
Yo, you've actually been like shout out to a day one. I remember. I mean, I think you were following back well before we hit 500,000. And it has been a crazy ride, which, I mean, you're, as a fellow content creator, I mean, I know you can relate. It moves very fast. And sometimes, you know, sitting here talking to you, I'm going, what the hell did I do to get here? But we're here, and we're gonna have some fun today. So for anyone that doesn't know, you've been in the music industry now. I mean, you've been playing the piano and writing songs since you were 6 or 7 years old, from my understanding, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember what? Do you remember?
Go ahead, my bad.
Do you remember what the first song you ever wrote was called, or what it was about?
It's crazy because I was born in a Christian household, so my first song was 10 verses of the 10 Commandments. So I'm not a trained pianist, but like if I hear something, I can play it pretty decent or whatever. Cool. But I wrote and there might have been a couple of lines, but I made sure I had 10 verses about each commandment.
Thou shalt not steal, all that good shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, and you were in, you've been down this block before. Certainly, you've just released The Great Reset, which is an awesome independent album. It actually was my song of the week in my second podcast episode, Lost My Mind, which is an awesome track. Everyone should get on that. But you were in a band with your sister called Sorority. Sorority?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorority, yeah.
Sorority. And you guys got some bangers. I listened to Loyal on the way to the studio, and I was like, this is a banger. That got added to the playlist. And then there was one that started with a D as well. I don't know if, I can't remember what it was called, but it was awesome. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. And is that you or your sister that's rapping in those songs?
My sister, she was rapping, yeah. And then I was singing. I do both rap and sing, but that was kind of like the yin and the yang of the group.
You guys have an awesome back and forth. She had like a whole. I gotta say, she's coming in with like a kind of a little Kim Foxy Brown style. I was really digging, and then obviously you with the R&B, we're crushing it. So guys, get on these tracks, whether it's The Great Reset or the old school tunes when you were bumping with your sister. So we're gonna get into some of that, what happened, but just out the gate, want to do just a little bit more, you know, background of who you are. So you were born in Iowa. And it's kind of funny. I mean, I want to kind of ask, like, what's the biggest difference from, you know, growing up in Iowa and now you're in California, right? So, I mean, there must be some pretty stark contrast there. I'll just let you kind of pontificate on that.
Yeah, no, and every time I tell people I'm from Iowa, they go, Iowa? Yeah. But we actually have a lot of people that come out of Iowa. I know T-Boz from TLC was from Des Moines, Iowa. Okay. Ashton Kutcher is from Iowa. I think the guy who played, as in Lord of the Rings, he played the lead character. What was his name?
Frodo. But yeah, good old Frodo.
Yeah, we got some people, whatever. There's other people too, but my mom's originally from the Philippines. My grandfather was in the Navy, so you know, she's coming over here, landed in Iowa, and then you know, music's always been in the family, entertainment and whatnot. Watching award shows, like that was kind of like the family, you know, hangout event for us. And then so my mom always saw a vision with me and my sisters, and even my brother were just, you know, performing in music and stuff like that. So we moved out to California in 2008. And it's so funny because people are like, oh, you're California, but then you lived out here long enough to be, or you're from Iowa, but you moved out here to California and I lived half my life out here. So like, I'm like both, but the difference between Iowa in California is that Iowa is like more of a slow pace.
Sure.
California is more that fast pace. Even when we came out here to like stay and live, our first experience of an earthquake happened. And so it was like, oh snap, like it was a big difference. But coming out here, you know, with our parents involved, you know, my stepdad, my mom, they were always helpful to kind of guide us throughout the industry, whether it was performing at schools for school tour, just getting that groundwork and that artist development, which we don't have anymore.
No doubt.
But yeah, no, just chasing the dream. We got, you know, eyes on us from different labels, had showcases, and, you know, my life's always been on social media. So if you click up my name, you'll probably see stuff from, you know, the good and the bad, the ugly, and you know, it is what it is. But, you know, all of this led me to who I am now. I've always been family oriented, and, you know, just the opportunities I was given, you know, you always kind of hear stories about what's going on in the industry, but I've always had my mom in my corner. And that was kind of like a situation for people to kind of make like, oh, momager thing. But my mom was really just looking out, you know, your parents are kind of like, I mean, I know for good parents, I know there's certain parents that sell their children. My mom was like, no, these are my babies. Y'all not going to have them looking crazy or talking about certain things. So I was always blessed to have that. And that led me into rooms with, you know, Rock Nation. I was signed there in 2018. You know, I got signed to Atlantic and Jason Derulo, you know, back in 2021. So, you know, I was just kind of maneuvering. And while I was maneuvering, I was kind of picking up certain things. But it got to the point where it's like, I kind of see past what the dream was sold to everybody, the Hollywood and the glam and all this other stuff. So now I'm here with you.
Yeah, we're holding it down. We got the independent corner going here, and I mean, you've got the freedom, but also, you know, you're sitting there. At least you still got your mama by your back. Is she out there in California with you?
Yeah, no, we're out here in California.
Nice.
We're trying to leave California.
Fair enough. I would get the hell out, actually. Yeah, right about now, I would get the hell out of there.
It's escape from LA because it's real life communism in California. I was so tunnel vision trying to figure out how to just become financially stable with my talents and you know, creating a legacy and whatnot. But all this stuff started hitting, and now it's just, do I really want to be in a label situation, or do I want my freedom and be able to sleep at night knowing that, you know, I didn't have to give up anything to, you know, be who I am. So
do you find that the atmosphere out there in Cali and even in the music industry has changed a lot post-COVID? Is there a different,
definitely.
In what ways?
When COVID started, they got everybody, you know what I'm saying? It's funny because they have an algorithm. Now I'm starting to pick up with like Amazon and Netflix. They were putting out movies during the time where, you know, it's a pandemic. So let's put Contagion on
Contagion, hell yeah.
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 And we watched this movie and we're like, is this really what's going on? I was like buying groceries and washing them off and all this other stuff. Oh, they got you
with the wash the groceries thing?
Yeah.
Fuck, man. Yeah, they had us good.
Yeah, because I didn't realize like with COVID and everything that like it was just a total shock, because when we had Trump as president, I wasn't really tripping on anything because, you know, we were making money, you know, everything was good. And then COVID happened and you're just like, what the heck? Everything was good and now everything's bad. What's going on?
Hit the brakes, you know? Yeah, fucking big time.
Yeah. So post-COVID, they wanted people to take vaccines to go to certain events. I'm not vaccinated. I didn't take no tests, no nothing. So when people were inviting, I have industry friends, they're like, oh yeah, come to my, you know, movie premieres and album release parties. Oh, and at the bottom of the flyer it says, oh, you have to be vaccinated. Sure. I'm like, man, I'm sorry. I wish I could go, but I'm not vaccinated. I don't have a fake vaccine card. I wasn't going to do that. So I was like, sorry, I can't go. And they're like, oh, appreciate it. So I, you know, lost on opportunities. I was supposed to have a reality show with Facebook. They asked me, oh, are you going to get vaccinated? The rest of my family. And we were like, no. And then the show didn't happen.
Okay.
So
what a waste.
Yeah,
what a waste. Like how many resources were wasted just even adding that little thing at the bottom of a form, you know, are you vaccinated? And it's like, are they asking that? And is anyone asking that now? Like, no. No. Did it stop all of us that, like, I am vaccinated. I had to do it for my job. My girlfriend at the time was very pro, you know, system. So, you know, I like a good sheeple. I went and got the jab, and it's like, I got COVID twice. Like, I don't know. They told us we weren't supposed to get it after we got the jab. Yeah. We got COVID. Everything has played out now where it seems like we wasted a whole lot of money on something that didn't really work the way it was supposed to, you know, and at the same time vilified people such as you that, you know, made a decision, which is your right to make, and that's my stance on it, right? I know, and I like to say this, Emaza, I'm not necessarily anti-vax, I'm anti-government, I'm anti how they did it, how they rolled it out, how they turned us against each other, right? And I mean, I think that's very much a part of your music. When I listen to it, I can hear that message coming through pretty regularly.
Yeah, so. the title my mom came up with, the Great Reset, and I know that if you're familiar with Klaus Schwab, I actually got the book.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think their plan was called the Great Reset, yep. And I think with music, we need a great reset because it's just what they're selling to people, for females, for young men. They just got the whole world messed up. And, you know, they said that the music industry is like the devil's playground. So obviously they're going to push that agenda through music. So when I was doing the Great Reset, I was like, I need to kind of just talk about what I'm feeling, what I'm going through. And this was during, you know, just all these protests after or kind of during COVID, post-COVID. So yeah, I try to kind of put the message in the music without it sounding quote unquote corny or whatever. Like, you can make good music with good messages still.
It does exist. Yes, positivity can still exist. That is a thing. Yeah. I mean, it's easier to be just bitter and hateful. I mean, I'm coming from a guy that delivers pretty grim news updates every day, but we do try and stay positive. And when I talk to my fans on lives and whatnot, I try and reiterate, look, yeah, things are bad. Things are definitely bad. Don't let that stop you from going outside, enjoy your day, be with your family, be with your neighbors. In fact, I think it's now more important than ever that I think it's kind of goes hand in hand with what you're talking about with the music industry. We got to reconnect with that community. You know, we got to know our neighbors again, rather than just be like, I'm looking at my phone. I don't give a shit about my human neighbors. And then there's going to be a day soon where we might need to be counting on our neighbors. For one reason or another. So I can get behind all that. There's so much, there's a really interesting thing I want to say about the music industry where you talk about the devil's playground and all this stuff. And I'm going to put a pin in it though, because I had another question before we get right into it. What's one thing I got to do if I ever go to Iowa? What do I got to do when I go to Iowa? Like, what's one experience I got to hit up?
I feel like we both got to go to Iowa because I was so young when I left. I left maybe, I was like 9 when I came out here. Okay. I don't know. I feel like you have to go with the most practical thing. Like, go to the cornfields, like really go and see that. Maybe go enjoy nature. I know that they had like a McDonald's farm or something like that when I was younger, and it was like a nature walk and they had animals. I don't know if they still have it, but it was a cute little memory for me.
Nature walks are great. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Can I bring my dog? He will try and he'll chase everything. Okay, one more question about the Iowa days, or maybe you did this in Cali. You can tell me, which were you a bigger baller in, volleyball or basketball? What are we talking here? Which one was the
okay, so I actually made it further in basketball. I feel like I was just so, I did everything, but obviously music and dancing was my passion, but basketball, I was doing that for a while till high school. I started as soft, like freshman, sophomore, and then I was playing against JV and I was shooting in front of them.
Let's go.
And I had my game, but then I got into you got the bullies in high school. So that happened at my school and I had to transfer and everything. Oh, so I was like, dang, I was going to continue with basketball, but I knew that music and everything was my go-to.
There does reach a time where it's like you got to pick that lane. Like, you can be a jack of all trades or you can be a real pro in one thing, sadly. I mean, some people are freaks and they can manage to do it. But, you know, for a lot of us, you do got to pick a lane like athleticism, arts, you know, shithead banker on Wall Street, whatever lane you choose, you know, it's going to be, that's going to define you. And I mean, I think you made the right call because obviously you got the R&B, you got the hip hop. Who's the #1 country artist you're bumping right now?
Oh my God. Okay. So my mom, she's big on country, and speaking of jack of all trades, she's a jack of all trades. Okay. Like all the stuff that I do, she was already doing. So,
gotcha.
The house that I'm living in now, my mom and my stepdad helped build it. You know, we had a team of people, and then we finished out everything, putting tile on the ground. But she was playing all this country, and it was helping us just finalize this home. And she played. I love this song, Island. Is it Island Stream? Hold on. It's Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers.
Island in the Streams.
Island in the Stream. There we go. Yeah.
It's a great
I love that song. I like the 80s country.
On each other. Yeah, that's a great song. Yeah. It's a great song.
I think Johnny Cash, he has a daughter, and there's a song called Seven Year Heartache, I think. I'm bad with his name.
No,
yeah,
so you're on that old school, you know, country tip. Do you got any like new artists in the playlist, like a little Sam Hunt or something? Maybe a little, you know? Yeah, okay, right on. I mean,
Sam Hunt and Chris Stapleton too.
Oh, Stapleton.
I was hearing a lot. Yeah, he's crazy.
Unreal. His new stuff is great. It's almost kind of rock and roll. White Horse, I got that in the playlist bumping pretty regularly. Awesome. Well, that's a sign of someone who's a true fan of the art itself, right? Like there's a lot of people that, you know, they listen to one genre. I think a real artist will expand and see the beauty in all the genres. I mean, there's a lot of trash in each genre too. You got to weave through, but you know, you can combine. Like you can look at an artist like Jelly Roll, if you're familiar with Jelly Roll. He's a big old country boy, but he's got a very hip hop vibes. He's kind of got these slow country beats, and he makes some really cool music. So you can marry those genres and have some really awesome outcomes from it, right? You have a country track on The Great Reset, is that right? Or is that something you're hoping to release? Like, was that something that got released?
Oh, I actually have some. I've been starting some new country on the new project. Yeah,
I love it.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, we're excited for that. Let's just delve quick into your time working at Rock Nation, working for Rock Nation, being signed to Rock Nation. You're rubbing shoulders with Jay-Z, Beyonce. What was that experience like? And you were, you must have been 18 or 7, like you were young musician at the time. That must have been a pretty heavy, amazing experience. I'll let you kind of tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, it's crazy because, you know, I grew up watching all these artists on TV, listening to them on the radio. My mom would play all their music. Yeah. And it's crazy. My mom was actually pregnant with me. It was like, you know, like 20 years ago. And she actually met Jay-Z, and he rubbed her stomach. And, you know, yeah, it was crazy. It was at a concert. And then I told him the same story, meeting him at the brunch, and I was crying because I was like, oh my God, you know, I'm such a fan. And, you know, my mom actually met you, and 20 years later, I'm signed to you now. And so, you know, he was like, oh, it's so cute. And I was like, oh, wow, this is crazy. It was very eye-opening because, you know, I've always been a person to like set my goals, and you know, my mom's always been my cheerleader and coach at the same time, saying, hey, you can do anything, you'll be in these rooms and whatnot. And I made sure that I was going to get into these rooms the right way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm not gonna like pull a gimmick or, you know, make myself feel less than or do something crazy behind closed doors just to get there. You know, I was blood, sweat, and tears. So with Rock Nation, I was like, okay, this is Jay-Z and Beyonce. These are like the biggest top artists in the world. I was able to like be in rooms with the top of the top people. Yeah. And, you know, I did it the right way.
It's almost like you were destined. Like, I can't get over the fact that he met your mother and like did the whole belly rub and it's like, oh, yeah. Then, you know, and then it's like you pop out, you're like, yo, let's go. I'm going to Rock Nation. Let's go. You know, you're writing lyrics while you're 6 years old. I mean, some people just have a path, and it sounds like you're a bit of a savant. I have a friend. He's really good at everything. He's really annoying, but he can do that too, where he can just hear something and he can play it on a piano. He can play the bagpipes. He can do all this stuff just from hearing. He never actually learned the notes or anything, but music is an amazing thing, right? And I think, you know what? Let's just get into this, because it keeps coming to me naturally here. So I want to get into. We talked about the Devil's Playground. Let me ask you this first, Emaza. A lot of young artists get into the game, get into the industry, and they struggle with addiction or substances, or and addiction comes in many forms. That can be lovers or whatever. What do you think you did that helped you stay away from all that? And do you have any advice for any young artists how to steer clear from those temptations that do, let's be honest, take their toll on a lot of artists, especially a young artist being in rooms like like you described, like you've dreamed of. How do you think you stayed away from all that stuff?
I have to give a lot of credit to my mom. Like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. She's like a different type of energy. Like, there's no way you're gonna like harm her children, or if she's present, you know what I'm saying? She tried to instill all these values. But even just giving a little background, my father, my biological father, he was abusive towards my mom. So something like that, growing up seeing, and that can create trauma. I know it did for myself and for my sisters and my brother, but I didn't let that kind of like take over my body, because my mom took me out of that situation when she divorced him, and my stepfather, my mom came out here. So it was like, I wasn't a person, like, I try not to be like, a victim of things, even though I know I have deep rooted issues, but I was just so tunnel vision. Like, there's a place I want to be. Even when it came to like, being at parties, I was at a New Year's party out here in California for a magazine, and I went to the bathroom and there's people snorting coke, and asking, hey, do you want some? And, that's normal for people, but not for me. I've always felt like, alcohol and drugs, that wasn't my thing, because I need to be able to be myself, controlled, especially in these rooms with men, studio sessions and whatnot. So I just didn't want to mess up. I didn't want to like put myself in a predicament that I can't go back from. So I know I was scared. I was scared going to places. My mom told me horror stories about what happens to people, and I was like, no, that can't happen to me.
So we got your mama to thank, and just your overall determination and knowing where you wanted to be. And that's, that's a powerful thing. So good on you. And thank you to your mama. Is she around right now? I saw in another interview, she was like behind your shoulder.
No, she's on her way home. Okay, but usually she would be here. She's just someone that makes me feel calm. And I'd be like, I'll talk to my mom and stuff, because she's a part of it. She'll be like, I don't want to be on camera.
I can relate. I was definitely raised by my mama as well, and she tried her best. I wasn't always as focused as you've been, Emaza, but raised by my mama, all the respect, very close relationship with her, and that's why I like to think I'm as well adjusted as I am, or depending who you ask. But getting to what kind of the core of what I was talking about there, music to me, music is honestly transcends everything. And I hate the fact that it seems, especially today, or it's like people think, okay, you either got to go the demonic side, right? The Satan worshiping, hedonistic vibe, or you go the other way where it becomes very, very Christian, religious, praising God. Can we just make music its own religion? Because like, honestly, there's something so powerful about, me sitting there as a 12-year-old going through a divorce, listening to a guy from Compton rapping and feeling something from that song that helps me get through that night, listening to my mom fight with her stepdad. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's religion. That's the shit I love. I don't care, I don't want to pick that side. I don't want to pigeonhole it as, well, you're either, part of this satanic stuff or this Christian stuff. It's like, music is art. Music, your brain on music reacts like a drug chemically. It takes you places. So how do we do that? Loaded question, Emaza. How can we go ahead and do that?
I feel like we did have a period of time, like with Whitney Houston or Michael Jackson. Okay. You could find certain records with when they're kind of a little off with some artists. But let's say The Greatest Love of All with Whitney Houston, a beautiful record. You know what I'm saying? I feel like people do the demonic stuff so they can, like, I feel like people are selling their souls for free at this point just so they can be at certain places, and that's all that they're pushing. But you don't have to do that stuff. And then I feel like for myself, right, a lot of people, like when I dissed a lot of these female rappers for being satanic and whatnot.
Those bars were awesome, by the way. I checked out that video. I was like, this is fire. I enjoyed that. Yeah, it was good.
Thank you. No, I wasn't approaching like trying to be a Christian rapper, because obviously I'm saying cuss words and whatnot. And I understand that there's Christians that don't say that, but then there's Christians that might stub their toe and be like, you know?
Hell yeah.
For me, I have to express myself. And I feel like for people that are going to come and disrespect people that believe in, you know, Christ, there has to be some warriors on our side that's going to call them out and be like, hey, we're not doing that here. So I feel like the artists that aren't full like Christian content, but they're giving good messages, I would consider myself, and I think I've heard other people say, like, you know, people that believe in God but still make music, that I would consider that as Christian music, because there's people that believe in Satan and they're making music and they're number one on, you know, iTunes and whatnot. So I just feel like the words have to be good. The words have to be good. You don't have to be like,
that's it.
I don't know. It's the content. We had good music back in the day. I feel like they weren't really pushing Satanism. It was kind of like a secret society kind of thing, but now they pushed it to the forefront. But I don't know. I just feel like we gotta stop listening to the BS that they're pushing.
Well, you know, I feel you. And it's like, you know, there's an artist, NF. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of him, but he's considered a Christian rapper, but this guy's rapping about some dark stuff, his inner demons, and it's fantastic music. It's music that helps you triumph. I think if it's anything you can take and listen to, and it gives you that sense of perseverance, you know what I'm saying? And then there's the Doja Cats, the Cardi B, fuck who you want, fuck who you like. And it's like, okay, you're taking the power back, I guess, by becoming the archetype of the piece of shit man that you hated and that people sang about, being like, oh, you suck. And it's like, this is actually, we'll get right into it. I don't know if you heard, we'll get into a little current events. We do segues here willy-nilly, people. You know how we roll. It's chaotic. I hope you can keep up, Emaza. I know you can. There's this girl. Her name is Anne. I don't even remember. I can't look up her name right now, but Australian influencer who came out yesterday and said that she's had sex with 300 people this year. And she said, to all the haters, I feel very empowered from that. So I'm just curious what your take on that is.
I think I actually heard this. My mom,
she's kind of blowing up. She's kind of blowing up right now.
I didn't know who it was, but I feel like there's a lot of podcasts kind of calling out a group of women that are very liberated with their bodies and whatnot. I feel like that is an agenda, so to make women be like that. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't think in today's age there's a lot of people that are holding their virtue. You know, I feel like there's a lot of influences or just a lot of trauma where people don't have their father in the household. I feel like that plays a part as well. So someone being proud about that, I mean, there's STDs. I don't know why people would just loosely go around 300 men. I'm pretty sure not all 300 men are squeaky clean.
You'd have to be real lucky to get a 0% on that one, I tell you.
Yeah. I feel like stuff like that that's being glorified, it's doing a disservice to women. I know that American women in particular, I feel like a lot of outside countries look at us women as like we're disgusting and we're just out here buck wild and don't have no mystery or keep ourselves contained. I get people want to go ahead and take their power back, but I don't feel like that's the proper way. I really don't. I feel like that's just an agenda to make women lose themselves and just degrade themselves. They think that they're really pushing it for themselves, but I think there's other ways we can do that. I really do.
For sure. I mean, and I'm just going to say this personally for me, you know, I got no problem with what people do, but I do have problem with hypocrites and just general, I don't know, sarcastic irony of the situation. But like, I'll say this, I saw that Andrew Tate commented on her post and was like, haram, you know. And I'm like, you fucking hypocrite. You literally you got Andrew Tate, a guy that built his fucking following on being a playboy, right? Being a Mr. Bugatti and the bubble water. And it's like, okay, bro. And now you're calling out this girl for doing what you did, for employing the same tactics that you did. And all your little incel fans are going to scream at this poor girl and call her a slut. Meanwhile, they got you up on a pedestal for doing the exact same shit. And that's the tragedy to me, Emaza, is that I kind of alluded to it before, where you've got these new women, you know, Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, WAP. Oh, what a groundbreaking song about fucking a bunch of people. And it's like, you've just become the man slut, the man whore that, you know, no one likes. And I don't like the man whore, and I, you know, whatever, but it's each to their own. I do mean that, but just understand, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's kind of orchestrated. It's kind of meant to be going this way. But no, I like to say, honestly, it took me 30 years to realize I didn't know shit. And trust me, in my 20s, I thought I knew everything. You couldn't tell me. You couldn't tell me I was wrong. But it took me, I think, I mean, this is a generalization, but I think oftentimes women will grow up a little quicker than men for various reasons. But it took me about 30 years to become an adult, and there's days where I'm still not quite achieving full adulthood, if I'm being honest. But you know, we are out here, and I think it's important to stay youthful too sometimes. I mean, depending what you're doing. I'm not talking about 3-day benders, but you know, maybe throw a snowball at a passing car every once in a while or something, you know. That's a random one. Let me ask you this, did it ever snow in Iowa?
Oh yeah, no, I would go
Okay.
sledding, snowboarding, all that stuff. So I love this.
Okay, so you fucked with the snow before. Okay, let's get into the rapid fire segment. I'm gonna name 2 artists. You tell me which one you're going with, okay?
Okay.
And then we have a special video we're gonna get into. But this one I've curated specifically for you, Emaza. Are you ready? Okay, we're starting it off with a good one. Foxy Brown or Lil' Kim?
The Foxy Brown.
Yeah, that's the right choice. Nas or Jay-Z?
Nas.
Okay. Tupac or Biggie?
I'm more of a Biggie girl. I like his vibe.
We're 100% right now, just so you know, on choices. Whitney Houston or Mary J. Blige?
I love Mary, but Whitney is the queen.
Whitney's queen. I did know, I was like, I think she's going to take Whitney after I wrote it. I was looking up. You seem to be a pretty big fan. We got TLC or Salt and Pepper?
TLC.
TLC all day. Missy Elliott or Eve?
Ooh, I know more of Missy Elliott's music.
Yeah, she's the king. I mean, Eve had some bangers, though. Tambourine, I remember that song. I used to pump that all the time. Here's a really good, this one's going to be tough. Will Smith or Eminem? Who you going with?
What? I don't know. I mean, I like older. It's like Slim Shady. I guess that was cool. He has some younger stuff. I don't know about his newer stuff, but I wasn't really a Will Smith music fan. I only know it's like Summertime.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I mean, what, Miami? I mean, actually, it's all coming back to me, getting jiggy with it.
Yeah.
We're gonna go. She goes with Eminem, folks. Sorry, Will. Sorry, Will. Go cry to Jada. Taylor Swift or Kanye?
Oh, Kanye.
Kanye all day. Kanye all day. And then the last one, which will be kind of a good segue to get into, well, actually, we kind of already covered it. It's the 2 people you dusted up in a sick diss track. We got Megan Thee Stallion or Cardi B. Who you going with?
I'll go with Meg Thee Stallion.
Okay.
I'll go with Meg Thee Stallion.
Okay. Yeah, no doubt. All right, that is the Rapid Fire. That's the first edition ever of Rapid Fire, folks. Let's get a round of applause. We'll throw some clapping in the background there. We have a special video coming up, but actually, I'm going to put you on the spot here, Emaza, because I do a movie suggestion and a song suggestion every podcast. We actually forgot to do it with Spike last week, but that's okay. So I know you haven't had any time to think about it, but if there's one movie you could throw out there for people that they should watch, and one song, it can be old, it can be new, whatever you want. Let's hear those, and then we're gonna get into our special video here that we have sent in from Parasite.
Okay. Well, The Sound of Freedom. Go ahead and see that movie.
Oh, no doubt. You know what? I haven't watched it. I have not watched it yet. I'm gonna go home and watch that tonight, for real. Yeah. That's what's going down.
Yeah, it's a great insight on what's going on in the world. And he said song.
Yeah, one track. Or you could do like an artist, whatever you're feeling.
I would say Lost My Mind.
That's a fucking track. Although that was the song of the day on the second podcast. So like give them a different one. Hit them up with a different one.
Okay. A song right now. Let's do Payback by James Brown.
Oh hell yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
I've been bumping that. Yeah.
He makes some remarkable noises at the ends of his songs. Like I was listening to, I can't remember what song, but he's just like, where it's the love song, I think, where he's like, I put a spell on you, right? And he's like, blah, 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 like makes all these noises at the end of the song. I was like, holy shit.
That's probably the spell.
Some voodoo stuff going on there. Yeah. All right, so just a quick little a segue introduction here. Parasite, fellow TikToker, conspiracy researcher, really talented guy, knows how to research. He's put out some amazing work on the Hawaii incident in Maui. He's done a lot of amazing stuff. He actually, I'll tell you this one, Emaza, he has a video where he presents a theory that it was O.J. Simpson's son who did the killing. Yeah, it's a rabbit hole. I'll send you the vid after this, and you can go down a weird rabbit hole. I'm convinced it was the son now. Convinced. But I'll let everyone else go down that rabbit hole on their own. Anyways, Parasite, I reached out to him. I told him about what was going down here today. He said he'd be happy to make a little video. So we got a 3.5-minute video here that we're gonna play, and then we're gonna dive into some of the current stuff going on in Emaza's life and in the music industry in general. So here we go.
The Satanic Agenda in mass media. But is it satanic or just a tired aesthetic trend? Recently, we've experienced another wave of corny satanic outbursts from artists like Lil Nas X, Sam Smith, and Doja Cat. It just goes on and on. What does it all mean? Obviously, our media is constantly inundated with satanic and ritualistic themes and imagery, oftentimes with artists and celebrities making bold proclamations about their love for Satan or even having sold their souls. But I have questions. Do they walk the walk or just talk the talk? And is it actually satanic? Is any of this about Satan? Or is that just the public-facing front of a darker, older, more organized, and powerful religion? Well, a common reply is that the music industry isn't actually satanic, it's just an aesthetic they find particularly compelling. Maybe. But I'm pretty sure a lot of us think that shit is corny. Maybe it gets people talking in the moment, but there are plenty of platinum and diamond selling artists that never go down that path. Many talented up-and-coming artists are kind of checked or vetted as they climb the ladder of success. From things like being forced to sleep with a producer in exchange for a hit album, to talk about rappers having to swing both ways in order to get their deal, to rumors of darker, more disturbing acts, like, Epstein type stuff. Doing stuff to kids, on camera, in exchange for wealth and power. The downside being that, yes, you now have money and power, but now a shadowy multinational organization has complete control over you, utilizing pretty much the most hardcore blackmail possible. But that doesn't stop some people from going through with it. And some people even enjoy it. Most recently, we got an example of someone who refused to compromise herself or her morals in order to get what she wanted. Emaza Dilan, a singer, has filed a lawsuit against Jason Derulo for sexual harassment, breach of contract, and retaliation. Derulo allegedly dropped Emaza from his label Future History via Atlantic Records after she refused to sleep with him during and after her studio sessions. I mean, that's just unprofessional, Jason. What about the music? I'm sure the music is really important to Jason. It's probably all about the music for Jason. Sorry. It's probably good that Emaza, by the way, I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name, stood up for herself and got out of there. Because according to the rumors, once you've shown that you're willing to compromise yourself, you will move up very quickly in the industry, but the personal and moral compromises will also quickly escalate. I mean, a few years into their career, some of these people just get wacky, often seeming kind of deranged. In my opinion, I feel like a lot of that could be caused by complete lack of privacy, exhaustion from constant touring and work, and the constant need to one-up the competition in order to stay relevant. But there are some outliers that seem to outright pledge their allegiance to the Dark Lord. No, not that one. No, not that one either. That one. Or is it that one? Or this one? According to 2010 X Factor winner Altian Childs, this is all part of a secret society, an organization that controls many aspects of our media and lives, taking their practices from an ancient cult that idolized a primordial being. Comment part 2, and I'll cover Altian Child's experience and accusations about the satanic music industry. News updates for real. Someone I consider to be a real-ass dude is interviewing Emaza today about her experiences with Jason Derulo and the music industry. It'll be out in the next couple days, so go subscribe to News Updates for Real podcast on YouTube so you don't miss it.
Oh, shout out to him.
That was pretty good. I really appreciate Parasite. We really appreciate you here, and I can't wait to get you on. Let me just make sure. Are we good? Yeah, we're good. Okay, we are good. We're live and rolling. So there you have it. I mean, obviously, this is nothing new, and it's not surprising. Before we get into the Jason stuff, I just want to kind of dial it back. Let's talk about what got you there. So you and your sister were doing the group thing. And then what happened? I believe I've researched a bit of it, but I want you to tell the story. You guys were moving to Def Jam, and at that point, your sister kind of bounced. She said, "This isn't for me," essentially.
You know, I had to keep on going, and this has been my dream at least. So moving forward, Jason Derulo's always been kind of like in the picture, in and out. He was interested when it was the trio. And then my younger sister, she left the group to be with her abusive boyfriend. So it's like really crazy. And I would keep it real. I always keep it 100%. Like, that's what it was. And so his manager was trying to manage me and my sister at the time. And they had the meeting with Rock Nation. And then for some reason, his manager kind of just like separated himself from the situation. And we went to Rock Nation. But then after Rock Nation and Def Jam, Jason Derulo saw my Instagram and TikTok and stuff, and he was like, "Hey, you know, do you want to sign?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "I'm gonna add in Atlantic," and I'm like, "Oh wait, great!" Because back in 2017, I had to showcase what it was the trio with Atlantic. So Atlantic wanted to sign me when I was in the group years ago. So the fact that he was going to do a joint venture with Atlantic, Jason Derulo. I was like, oh, this is destiny, because, you know, Jason's been trying to figure out a situation. Atlantic was already interested. They have acts like Bruno Mars, and, you know, they have Cardi B. They have, just huge artists. So I was like, okay, great. We have an artist here that knows the international social media realm. That's where I want to go with it. And then they're going to have a big, heavy hitting label behind it. So I was sold on that. And, you know, we had to start creating records. I don't know if I'm going too far off. You have any other questions? Because I'll start just telling you.
You're good. I want to know it all. And I mean, I think it's all important, right? I mean, here you are. You've just gone through a band breakup, for lack of a better word, right? And you know, more intense than that, a family band breakup, right? So, I mean, you're dealing with emotions, for lack of a better word. Here's this amazing opportunity. Right? Amazing opportunity. You've been dreaming of. It's all coming together. I think you guys had a song ready to go, from what I heard. You had a single like ready. They were gonna maybe get Chris Brown on it. And like
so that was like the ending of it, right? The beginning of it, we were recording records and demos to show to Atlantic. He had scheduled all the sessions late night.
This is you and Jason Derulo.
In 2021. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
And he was Ubering me, calling cars to go up to the session, because it's I'm like in SoCal, so it was more like Van Nuys area. It's more a little bit up North Hollywood area. So you know, it's a bit of a travel. He was, you know, paying for the cars to get there, and he was asking me to go to dinners and to drink with him at the studio. I've never drunk ever in my life. But as a female, you kind of like, oh, if the guy's asking you to drink, it's like you're trying to get at something, you know? And,
usually, I gotta say, usually.
Yeah. Yeah, usually in those sense, right? I'm not saying that every guy's like that, but this case, we're in a session. I'm here to record records, but you want me to drink. I told him I wasn't a drinker, and then in person, he, you know, makes drink, and I'm like, okay, you're not getting the picture, but I'm just gonna take the drink, so I don't want to offend you. Take a sip. It was super strong. He takes a sip, and he's like, oh, it is strong, and you know, like. Ugh. I feel like people know what they're doing. I feel like everyone's move is premeditated, and I was just so tunnel vision trying to get these records. These records were so good. I put like a snippet on my Instagram, and people are still asking me about this song, and I'm like, this is the songs that were promised to me, and they're not coming out, and I don't know why. And this is during the process. But I was able to record records, and mind you, it's hard to get good records in the industry. I was told at one point there's no records. I got signed, and they said there was no records. I'm like, what do you mean? This is a music industry. You don't have records? So it got to the point where in my chest, I was like, all right, I got to tell this dude I'm not going to be sacrificing nothing. I'm not doing anything against my morals. I was like, hey, if it stops here, it stops here, you know? And he responds with, you might have to do goat skin and fish scales. And I like froze up because I was like, I don't know what this is. It don't sound right. I know that I heard that fish scales relates to like a strand of cocaine or something like that. Like I said, I've never done cocaine ever in my life. Yeah. His engineer was present, and, you know, he gave like an awkward chuckle. And, you know, after that moment, I was like, all right, it's getting weird. I'm going to start needing my mom present. You know, when you get invested, and, you know, you work so hard. Like I said, I was out of that situation and with my group. So, you know, I had this meeting coming up. So I was like, if I'm able to maneuver, I saw this interview with Mel Gibson. He was able to maneuver throughout the industry. I was like, I can do the same. I was, you know, I was at Rock Nation, you know what I'm saying? Nothing was asking me at Rock Nation, but until I got to this point at, you know, with Jason, and I went to the meeting. He tells me like, a couple seconds getting out of the car, there's gonna be another girl joining. And I thought, I was under the impression that this meeting was for me. I was told that it was that. And I sat in a room with her when we got there, because they put us in a separate room, and she was like, oh, you know, how did you get here or whatever? I was like, oh, me and my sisters were a trio. He's always kind of been interested, but, you know, I'm here now because, you know, I'm trying to get signed and whatnot. Yeah. And she was like, I was like, what about you? She was like, oh, he hit me up on some trying to fuck shit. So we all know what that means, you know? Yeah. And she goes out and does her showcase. I'm sitting in the room and I hear the song. This is the song that was promised to me. They're showcasing that record that was promised to me. So because she's sleeping with this guy, she's getting records that were promised to me. She told her about this meeting. She's like, yeah, he told me about this meeting, you know, a couple of days ago. Like I was told 3 seconds getting out the car. So it's very real. Sorry, a little spit. It's very real. Good. I mean, Atlantic ended up signing me. They didn't sign her. They signed me because I guess I was what they wanted. Yeah. And you know, after that meeting, it kind of got quiet, and I was just trying to figure out how to move forward with my career. It got to the point where it was just a lot of back and forth and trying to just move forward. And you know, the Atlantic team said, yeah, we want you to win, Emaza, but we can't say the same for Jason. And I'm like, that's weird to hear because, you know, Jason should want to win because you signed me, you know? So he's not the man that I thought he was. You know, I was supposed to have a song with Chris Brown. They promised me to the last day. They told me, they gave me a call saying, oh yeah, we're going to release you because we want you to be happy. But a couple of hours ago, you told me that I was coming out with a single and you guys are going to get Chris Brown on it. So it's very confusing. Wow. It sucks because I worked so hard to get to this point. But, you know, I came on my social media like a year ago saying like, hey, I need the human resources. You know, I said, maybe I didn't make it because I didn't do the goat skin and fish scales. So, you know, and just
for anyone listening who doesn't know what that is, that involves some sort of goat sacrifice and I believe cocaine. Yeah. So it's a pretty. I did some research. It was
Daily Mail, they put like a whole story on a Haitian culture. I know he's Haitian, and I guess there's other people saying, yeah, like, you know, there's some Haitian people, not all, but they do voodoo. And that one, the story was talking about blood sacrifice, goat sacrifice, sex rituals,
and drugs.
I'm not, yeah.
So, like, let's be real here. Even if it's a joke, this is a guy who's shown interest in you. This is a guy who's parading around dates in front of you and playing your songs in front of these dates. Songs are, you know, records that were promised to you. So you make an innocuous comment like that, and that is just grim and kind of gross. And, you know, and in the back of his mind, maybe he's hoping that you're like, yeah, sure. Maybe he's like, yeah. Maybe she's going to say yes, right? In the end, whenever, you know, someone says something nasty like that, I think there's part of them that are hoping, you know, maybe she says yes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like pretty ugly situation. And then I think just judging by the fact that you had Atlanta still trying to stick it out with you, and just the way it all kind of plays out, it does tell a story, and it's a story I think we're all very familiar with. Jaded man doesn't get what he wants, and then that's the end of the project. So let me ask you this: how has since you've come forward, how's the response been? Are you dealing with some hatred? Are you dealing with support? It's probably a bit of both, but what's the overwhelming response been like?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I think it's I mean, I wasn't expect 100% of the people to be, you know, nice about anything. I feel like everyone just wants to be rude on social media, but I just feel like as a female, or just we're speaking about the music industry, and there's some sort of tie of like Satanism, or just, you know, people requesting certain things that they don't have to do in order to, you know, I was already signed. So people were kind of seeing what's going on, or they're doing more research, or just even off of his response, people were like, is that AI, or is that, you know, like,
right. Very dismissive either
like,
way.
They're like, we saw that video, he did it.
It was
and
very,
I'm like, well,
very weird. Yeah, very dismissive.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was so quick to make a video about it, to me, says something, but, you know.
He didn't put it on TikTok, and he, you know, he's big on TikTok. You know, I would have expected him to put it there.
Interesting.
But there's shadow banning me on there. I try to, you know, post my interview. It's like I feel like my voice is being silenced, even just with this story. Coming to find out, I heard that Julie Greenwald, who signed me, she's like paying other blogs to write about certain things, and Jason signed to Atlantic. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're like trying to quiet things. And
almost certainly.
You know,
almost certainly.
Yeah, it just sucks, because we all know that this stuff goes on in the industry. You know, you had the actor, the Me Too movement with the actresses and whatnot.
Mr. Harvey Weinstein. You know,
yeah. And I was expecting more support at the beginning, but at the end of the day, like, the support that I do have, I appreciate that, because they understand how long I've been trying to do it. I'm not the one to be coming out saying someone did this to me and unless I have receipts and whatnot. So, you know, I just try to mind my business and work hard. And it just sucks when, you know, someone you looked up to is, you know, promising you things, getting a contract saying, hey, I'm going to help you, and they turn around and don't help you. And then, you know, you're just back to square one. But, you know, I'm glad I didn't move forward with anything that was going to hurt me in the long run. You know, it's not worth it to me, and it is what it is.
It sucks, because it sounds like you guys could have made some fucking awesome music. And I mean, I think that's the biggest tragedy of these situations. You have an artist, a primed, experienced artist, you know, ready to go, signed to a major label. Like, why didn't this just move forward? I think that's the question that needs to be answered here, right? Can I ask you one last thing, and then we're going to kind of move on, but what made you decide to come forward when you did, which was earlier this month?
Well, a lot of people kind of think, like, they don't know the background story when it comes to going through a process. I mean, I think with my whole life's been on a halt because of this situation, but I've been trying to get right help. Like, I was just trying to get help from anybody I could since everything started. till now. So I didn't really work out any date or anything, but I wanted to come out and just tell my truth as soon as I could.
Right.
And fortunately, I was able to do it recently. And I feel so relieved to at least have my story out and people kind of have like a better insight on what I'm dealing with in the industry as a female and just what goes on in the industry. And, you know, this is why I'm not where I need to be with my career. Even though I had contracts, you know what I'm saying? They said F the contract.
Oh,
so
sure.
Yeah, it's a really crazy time. And I feel like a lot of stuff is coming out about a lot of people. Like these people really put on an act. The people you see on TV, the people you listen to on the radio, they're not who they say they are 9 times out of 10. From my experience. Yeah.
I mean, that's an understatement, I got to tell you, for sure. But I mean, here we are talking to a real one, and you do not seem like the type of person to cry wolf. So, I mean, bottom line, you got our support here at News Updates for Real and our family. And I hope everyone will show their support in the comments, guys. And yeah, but I mean, at least, like you said, you got your chance to tell the story. And I have like going through researching you before the interview, I did see that you have alluded to the toxicity of the relationship many times over the last year. I mean, you've talked about how it got spoiled. Now the details have come out, what led to it, and hopefully now you'll be able to move on with a clear head and keep making some awesome music, independent or not, and maybe one day one of these records wakes up, smartens up, and gets you back on board. But maybe you don't need them by then. That's the dream, right? So I mean, it's definitely a really bummer of a story, and especially when, like I said, guys, go check out Sorority Loyal. Go check out any other songs. You guys were making quality music, and then here you are, multifaceted, multi-genre artist, ready to make music, and they wouldn't let you make music. And here we are.
Yeah, I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
Oh, and I wanted to add one more thing. Me telling my story, I really wanted other people and then women in particular as well, up and coming artists, to not be afraid to speak up and say, hey, this is what's going on. You know, I have it in my bio. I have nothing to lose at this point because, you know, everything was taken from me from COVID to like the censorship on online, and I'm continuing to just push it forward because we have to fight. We have to fight for what's right, and we can't let these people make us feel like we can't speak up about certain things. So, you know, don't feel ashamed because these people are being evil towards you or doing certain things to you that's not right. You know, you're not the ones doing it, so call them out. So, you know.
As an independent artist, would you say that the censorship is probably one of your biggest obstacles right now?
Definitely, the censorship is a big obstacle. And my mom was telling me at this point, you're going to have to go back to doing, you know, shows and kind of doing it the old school way in the 80s because, you know, I used to get millions of views. You know, I went 13 million on that diss on Twitter, but they didn't. That. And I think like 8 million on the Shade Room Teen. So I'm giving everybody else views, but on my own platform, I'm not getting those same numbers, you know what I'm saying? And I'm the source. So I'm trying to push my music. Someone was trying to steal my music. Some fake artist was taking my music and it got my music taken off of Instagram. So, you know, being independent, not having a team, it's tough. And then when you're trying to speak up on the truth, the censorship hits you harder. But like I said, I am a fighter. I'm going to keep on going and we're going to figure it out.
Well, look, you are part of the News Updates for Real fam too, and we are, you know, right there with you, shadow banned every other week. But somehow we keep climbing out of that hole, and I hope you guys will flood Emaza's socials, show her the love, show her the support, and check out the album because I'm not kidding, it's fire. You like a little hip hop, you like a little R&B, a little bit of soul. It's got it all. Emaza, thank you so much for, you know, giving us the time of day tonight. And one last thing, I think, after everything we've talked about, maybe we close with just any advice you have for young artists, young musicians trying to break into the industry, and maybe specifically young female musicians. I'll let you kind of run with that. Say whatever you like.
I would say, I mean, it sounds cliche to say it, but you really want to be yourself. You don't want to be like all these other artists pushing a certain message or just the look. You know, you want to be happy with the music that you're making. And there's always there's somebody out there for you. There's a group of people that will listen to you. You don't have to go after the mainstream. Like I've been around a bunch of different mainstream artists, but it's for me, it's cool to like have a venue of 1,000, maybe 10,000, or even 100. You just want to have a good vibration and frequency when you perform and doing something that you love. So I feel like you follow that formula, it's going to lead to the right people. Is that guy named Oliver, who went #1 on Billboard? He had like a country song recently.
Oliver Tree?
Yeah.
Is that who you're talking about? The YouTube guy?
That him?
Yeah, the weird looking guy,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
He's a redhead, right?
Oh, you're talking about Richmond, north of Richmond. Yeah, fantastic song.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's not what's being played on the radio, but
No,
you know,
they won't play that fucking song on the radio. Never.
Yeah, but it was able to get him, I believe, on the charts, and he's just speaking, you know, saying what the people are feeling. And I feel like when you follow that in a way that makes people like feel something, telling your story, you were speaking it earlier. I don't want to go too long, but even if it's a dark story, but it's something that can, like you said, you know, give you a sense of perseverance. You know, those songs matter. Those artists matter. So
hell yeah.
Be yourself. Don't give in. You know, you want to be able to go to sleep at night and be proud of the work you did yesterday and to do more tomorrow. So
hell yeah. Guys, like I said, go check out The Great Reset, one of the best independent albums out this year. Emaza, I hope we can talk again. And I got to send you some rabbit hole videos to take up the rest of your night. So I'll do that after we sign off here. That's it, folks. Hey, thanks again. And best of luck to you. We will be keeping tabs. And like I said, welcome to the fam. And yeah, we got your back.
thank you. God bless.
All right. Take care.